Introducing Royal Caribbean's newest ship, Icon of the Seas, the ultimate family vacation. The ultimate 6 slides, 8 neighborhoods, 0 compromise vacation. The ultimate never done that, can't wait to do it vacation. The ultimate chillin' by a different pool every day of the week vacation. This is the Icon of vacations. Icon of the Seas, arriving in 2024. Book today. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
Today on MTP, we discuss the last 2 games of the Patriots have them trending in the right direction. We'll discuss if Justin Tucker is the greatest kicker in NFL history. We'll perform an autopsy on the Boston Red Sox after their elimination from the MLB playoffs. And will we even see baseball next year? This is Missing the Point, episode 93. When it's all relative. Did you hear what Joakim Noah said today?
Oh, but that 9/11 shit to D Rose's leg. I mean, I didn't see the whole quote, but like the fact that it's like, come on. I didn't read the whole thing, so I'm like, I was just like, really though? Like when I saw that headline, I'm like, come on.
When I found out Derrick Rose tore his ACL, I remember the smells, who I was with, everything. I had the same feeling when I saw the plane hit the tower on 9/11. People would be like, he's crazy for saying that. No, I'm telling you how I felt.
Yeah, but it's just like, read the fucking room. Like,
this is the problem where people can just say whatever they want to say and feel as though it's okay for them to say whatever they want to say. And that's not even the First Amendment thumpers. That's just in general. People just are not held accountable. And they think the moment that a camera's in their face or they have a phone that they can type on, it's like, don't.
Yeah, I'm like, I was like, come on, Joe. I'm like, come on, no, like, come on, bro. Like you come on, put that education in use, brother. Like, you know.
Also, it's pretty good editor manipulation too. That thing happened.
Oh, for sure. Because Keith Smith, who I follow, he was with Y'all's works. Well, I feel like I feel like we should sign his DM too, because he talks about something all the time. He was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go on and head out. So that's how I saw the link, and I was like, I don't even want to click on this because I'm gonna get annoyed, and I'm just like, there's no fucking way. I don't care what headline you use. There's no way in any situation that a sports-related injury can be compared to one of the biggest tragedies of American history. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
I do understand what he's saying. You know, there's things that happen in your life where you remember where you were when they happened. Like, I can remember every car accident that I've been in. I can remember every single one, but that doesn't mean that it compares to 9/11, where I was sitting in my 8th grade history class and then went throughout the day trying to figure out what happened. It's like, I understand what he's saying, but his analogy is awful.
Oh, very, very.
He could have been like, I remember Derrick Rose's injury, the sounds, the smells, like it was yesterday. It was almost like when my first child was born. Like that is more of a good comparison than September 11th. Like, come on, dude.
Right. And welcome into Missing the Point. No.
Yeah. No, actually, you know what? Right, you're right. Welcome into Missing the Point. I'm Joe Malkin. He's Rayshawn Buchanan. Craig D'Alessandro is the guy that's spinning the dials down there, making us sound great. And this is Missing the Point, and we're happy to be here. Ray, we haven't done a show in a while, so this is kind of a fun one. We've kind of missed all the big moments with our smaller lineups that we've had. From a bigger standpoint, anyway, it was great to be on with Bobby the last time I was on when we were talking about the Patriots and Cowboys game, which is one of the best football games I've ever been to in my lifetime, and I've been to a lot of football games in my life. But Ray, we are here to talk about the NFL. We're here to talk about a little bit of the start of the NBA and NHL seasons if we get there, and possibly the end of the Red Sox season. There's a lot we could talk about and go over, but let's start with the New England Patriots because we all watched this game against the New York Jets on Sunday. This was a bit of I think every game against the Jets is a redemption game for Bill Belichick. I think that's just how he sees it.
Right.
But the Patriots, put up a score line that is mildly reminiscent to that of their game against the Tennessee Titans in 2007. Now, granted, this isn't the 2007. This isn't your daddy's Patriots. We can say that now because 2007 was 15 years ago.
Jesus.
Thanks, Joe.
Right. Right. Like,
No
oh,
problem.
God.
But the Patriots beat down on the Jets 54-13. And before we get into the numbers, Ray, what does this game mean for you for this team that is now 3-4 and has wins against the Jets, and the Texans?
It means that I can breathe for another week. I mean, I've been sick to my stomach watching this team overall. And you're pissed because I feel like that Miami loss in week 1 looks worse and worse to me each week. And I didn't think that Miami was going to come in being a decent team. Like, we did talk about them being somewhat of a contender on our previous shows, but I just can't believe that team is falling off. And granted, you can't know that in week 1, but it just looked so bad after that. So they really should be 4-2 as opposed to 3-4 or even 5-2, right? Depending on how the cookie crumbled there. But no, I mean, let's say it just means I can breathe, right? And I'm invested for another week. And listen, I'm gonna be invested all 17 weeks, but I don't have to cry for another week like I've been crying the last few weeks. That Cowboys loss hurt, mainly because I have family in Texas and they don't call me for anything else. But it was all, they was all on my head about how, the boys going to the Super Bowl. And I'm like, last time Dallas was even relevant in that regard, Bill Clinton still hadn't had a relations with Monica Lewinsky. Just saying. But, whatever. It is what it is. So, but yeah, but that's so, long story short, that's how I feel.
But for you young kids out there, that's the time frame of 1995 to 1997.
Right, exactly.
Ray, I sent this to the group chat after the game because myself and Bobby were both there. And I still stand by this. And Bobby said I was salty after I said this. But it's from firsthand experience, every win for the Dallas Cowboys is a Super Bowl victory. Every win. It's just, walking out of there. And I got to tell you, from somebody, again, that saw it, was around it, Dallas Cowboys fans on the whole are a very respectful fan base. They're just out of their minds. They love their team. They love their football. And not that we don't here in New England. I think we're a little less intense because I don't think we needed to be in the last 20 years. But walking out of there, I heard the same stuff. It was, hey, how about them Cowboys? The boys are going to the Super Bowl. And, and it's like, guys, it's a week 5 win over the New England Patriots. Like, and I'm not even going to throw anything else in there of like rookie quarterback, anything else. It's a week 5 win over the New England Patriots, who were, what were they at the time? 2-2 or 2-2 coming in. Mm-hmm. So it's like, what's the conversation we're having? Yeah, that Cowboys team is really good. But I agree with you. It's another week to breathe because I said this on the show with Bobby the last time previewing the Cowboys game because I picked the Cowboys to win that game, and that game was incredible. This team could realistically be 5-2. I'll go 5-2 because I think the Cowboys 100% deserved that win. I think that they had a lot of chances to win it earlier, so that could kind of go either way. But really the only loss that was a bona fide loss for the Patriots was that New Orleans loss.
Yeah.
And they came in and smoked us. And, that New Orleans team is fun to watch. They don't have, besides Alvin Kamara, they don't have a lot of beat you over the top. Like, they just don't have a lot. Right. Without Michael Thomas, they just don't have that next X factor. They don't have a lot of weapons.
Mr. 5-yard slant, and once they yell after every 5-yard route, it's just loud.
Right. So, but anyway, getting back to where we started, this game against the Jets, a 54-13 win. Mac Jones, first 300-yard game, whatever. He's an NFL quarterback. 300-yard games should be pretty standard, right? And then 2 touchdowns, which is great. 2 passing touchdowns. Kendrick Bourne also has a passing touchdown. And what have I been saying all season long? Give the ball to 84. Put the ball in the hands of number 84 because he is your most dynamic offensive weapon. Without James White, he is your most dynamic offensive weapon. Then Damian Harris comes out, 100-yard rushing game, 2 touchdowns. This was such a building block game for this New England Patriots team. And the fact that they can now build off of this with a young team, a lot of their veterans are on the shelf. They're not sure if Devin McCourty is going to be able to play this week. Dante Hightower was inactive last week. They played that well defensively. Not that the Jets are great, but they played that well defensively without Dante Hightower. And they even got to the Jets' backup quarterback, which hopefully Zach Wilson's okay, the rookie quarterback for the Jets. But Brandon Bolden been playing a big role in the offense for the Patriots, which I like because he is kind of your discount James White. And he's always been that way. And it's nice to see him making some plays. So a big offensive day, Ray, for the Patriots, and something they really need to build on going forward.
Yeah, I mean, we differ in our stance on Brandon Bolden. I was ready to bring him to Logan Airport. I have been all year. Yeah, so yeah, it's almost like he's heard me talking major trash about him because he came out, he balled on Sunday. So I thought maybe we could delay your flight until next week after the Chargers game.
Just leave him in LA next week.
Yeah, just leave him in LA. Look, man, go out there. Go chill with Dave. Go chill with Dave out there. Because I'm just like, bro, like he's been killing me. Like maybe 30-12. Oh, let's run a toss play to Brandon Bolden. It's like, yo, and granted, that's not all on Brandon Bolden because it's the guy is just who drops, which you can get that on mtpshow.com. Go get that t-shirt, go get that merchandise. But yeah, like it's just like it blows my mind how many times he's in the game or third down. It's just like, bro, like I don't have confidence to get that. So say it again.
Where's my shirt?
Right here, baby. MTP, baby.
Yeah.
and it's too sweet. But yeah, so I'm just like, yeah, so yeah, we definitely different. That's it. Listen, I want him to play well. I mean, at this moment, we need him to play well. Also, too, and we didn't bring this up. Listen, Bill, I know you like to send messages because you did it with Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl, you did it with other players. We don't have the talent to sit players. Play Ramondre Stevenson. Everyone on this show that listens,
is he a healthy scratch?
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't care what he was. I need him on the field. Oh, he was okay. Yeah. So that's the third or fourth time this year. I need him on the field. Everyone in the group chat knows how I felt about him because I've been screaming his name since the preseason. Like, even since I saw his tape after they drafted him, I'm like, yo, like, this guy is LeGarrette Blount with pass catching skills. Like, I need him on the field. So even if it's for 5 to 10 plays, like we need him on the field for third downs. The more talent, the better. It's not about the scheme at all because they run a single high safety or they run a cover 3 or they run who cares? The more talent on the field, the better. Stevenson can run over people. Like I said, Bolden, yes, can be over reliable. I get that, but Ramondre Stevenson shouldn't play. So hopefully he plays next week against the Chargers. The Chargers typically do have smaller players on defense, so maybe this is a game that Stevenson gets in and starts to dominate. But they need all the help they can get offensively, and just don't believe the hype just because you scored 54, because that Chargers team can go, and it would not be a 43-0 performance like it was last year.
It could be, but what if
it could be? But I mean, come on, I don't see that happening.
Was Dante Hightower injured or was he a healthy scratch?
He was injured. He was limited for a couple of practices. Typically, when you miss practice on Friday in the Patriots system, you don't play on Sunday.
So let's spin it this way then, Ray. What if Dante Hightower was able to go Sunday, but they sat him out and said, we're not going to need you because of the jet scheme. And they said the same thing to Ramondre Stevenson. And we're like, hey, maybe he is banged up because he's been banged up early in this, and not like he's been getting a whole hell of a lot of carries, but there's been some points where he's been slow to get up. What if he was sat down? And I agree with you. This isn't the time to necessarily be sitting players, especially young players in a game like this. Like, this could have been a breakout game for Ramondre Stevenson. But what if Bill thinks of him more highly and knows that his running back core it's not bad. I mean, it's not bad. He's got 4 good, serviceable running backs, had 5. James White gets hurt. But what if that's kind of what it was of like, hey, we're going to need you in bigger spots. So this weekend, take a breather. We'll see you in LA.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope that that's the case, and I hope that he has that mindset that you have there. Like I said, I'm just, because I'm biased towards how I've seen him play already, I'm like, I want him on the field. So I don't care if it's for 5 snaps, 10 snaps, like, excuse me, even if he's a decoy, like, just have him out there, because I feel like he more than not makes positive plays when he's out there. Yes, he had a fumble that, once you fumble, you become, in the doghouse. I mean, we get that. But we saw, I think, in the Houston game, that, when he gets the ball, it's bowling ball season. He's running people over, doing his best, Derrick Henry impression. So we need that. Listen, I'm a big Damian Harris guy too, so I'm glad he was able to get 100 yards. He runs really, really hard. And, those tree trunks of legs has really served him well, as he always shows in practice. He's been awesome. So, yeah, like I said, I do hope that you're right in that regard. That he said, you know what, we may need you for the Chargers more than we needed you for the Jets. And I think we can wrap this up by saying it doesn't matter who's behind center, who's on defense. In the words of Aaron Rodgers, we own you. We still own you. It doesn't matter who's playing. We own the Jets. So that's good to know.
So from a bigger picture, the Patriots are now 3-4. They're a game and a half behind the Bills, who had a bye week this week. So the Dolphins lose, the Jets lose, obviously, because we beat them. The Patriots are 3-4. The Bills, I still believe, are a wagon. I just think the Buffalo Bills are a wagon of a team. They're 4. You look at the rest of the AFC. The AFC West is very intriguing. I think the Raiders have played harder since John Gruden left. The Chargers are a very good team. Those teams are 5-2, 4-2, respectively. So again, the Patriots are going to play another team coming off of a bye here in the coming week, like they just did with the Jets. The Chiefs are 3-4, which is surprising. We can talk about that in a minute because I know Craig has some opinions on a certain quarterback in Kansas City, Missouri.
Right.
The Broncos 3-4. That's kind of I think the Patriots 3-4 is less impressive than the Broncos 3-4, but I think the Patriots are a better team than the Broncos. Bengals are 5-2, which they just beat the crap out of the Ravens, which was surprising to, I think, everyone, probably including Bengals fans. The Browns are 4-3. The Steelers are 3-3. The AFC is pretty good. It's top heavy, all things considered, because the Titans are 5-2, the Colts are 3-4. A lot of people are getting worried about the Patriots and would have given up maybe at this point 7 weeks through a 16-game season. It's now a 17-game season. And I see 7 weeks being 3-4 not as detrimental as a lot of other people, because an 8-9 team may get into the playoffs, and that may very well be your New England Patriots.
Yeah, no, that's fair to say. I mean, obviously we don't want it to get to an 8-9 team, obviously. I think just from a comfortable start, they can get to 10-7. I think that would be, and to me, I think that's still doable to get 10-7. So yeah, I think they have to go 7-3. I think the rest of them to get there. So I think that's doable. Now, I'm not gonna lie. Before the Jets game, I was like, outside of this Jets game, I told a few friends, but I'm like, I don't know if they win any of these games. That's how pissed off I felt even after the Houston game, after the Cowboys game. I'm just like, if you keep losing games that you're in it, it's like, oh, like, well, we were right there. If it wasn't for a missed field goal, if it wasn't for a missed catch by Alvaro, it's just like, yo, like, how many times are we gonna have those type of opportunities? But yeah, but like you said, man, the AFC is definitely wide open. We definitely should touch on the Chiefs, because listen, if you had told me in 7 weeks that we were gonna be tied with them, I'm like, now granted, whether we were 5-2 and they were 5-2 or 4-3 or 6-1, whatever, but hey, we're both 3-4. And I'm not as upset. So it's like they were considered to be the favorites. So I'm like, hey, listen, we're right there where we need to be, baby. Let's get them.
As a Patriots fan, it's so funny because for 20 years, people were, every time we would lose or we would start 2-2, like in 2014, and we had that quarterback. We had the best quarterback in the league, and we would start off not so well, and people would get down our throats. And and now I see it from an outsider's point of view, and I go, just wait a minute. Just give it a little bit of time. Just give it some time, because this Chiefs team is better than they seem. They have the same coaching staff. They have the same team that they had last year. Nothing has changed. And they went to the Super Bowl and they lost to Tom Brady. I'm not going to hold it against them. They are a good football team with a very good to great quarterback, Craig, that is going to be around for a very long time, Craig.
Maybe.
And they're having a bad start. And that's okay. Bad starts happen. 3-4 is not so bad. 3-4 looks a lot better than 2-5. And yes, I am going to sit here and I'm going to defend the Kansas City Chiefs, because they lost by a point to the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
They beat the well, that was preseason. They beat the Browns in the opening week. They lost to the Cardinals. They lost to the Chargers, right? So Browns, Ravens, Chargers, 3 very good teams. Then they beat the Eagles, who they should have beat. Then they played the Bills, very good team. They played Washington, good defense, blew them out. Then the Titans blew them out in Nissan Stadium down in Nashville, which should have. Well, now they got the Giants. They're probably going to beat the Giants. Then they got to play the Packers. They got to play the Raiders. They got to play the Cowboys. They got to play the Raiders again. They still got to play the Bengals. I mean, they got a tough schedule, man. I mean, they have a really tough schedule. And if this was the year that they missed the playoffs or that they get bounced in the wild card round, so be it. So what? So what? They're still the best team in the NFL, in my mind. I mean, I'm
not shedding tears as they do, honestly.
Oh yeah, no.
Once again, we got hated for 20 years behind that shit, and once again, it's ironic that we were 2-2 the year that we got smacked in Kansas City, right? So it's ironic how that's the case. So who knows? Maybe he needs
won a Super Bowl that year. Just saying.
Right, exactly. Won a Super Bowl that year, right? So it's just
that's my point. That's my point. Is this team could turn around and give the double birds to everybody. I mean,
so there's a chance for Mac Jones to get to the Super Bowl. I mean, there's a chance.
There's always a chance for Mac Jones to get to the Super Bowl. Listen, you look at the standings. I mean, all right, the Dolphins and the Jets aren't going to the Super Bowl. The Jaguars and the Texans aren't going to the Super Bowl. The Giants and the Eagles not going to the Super Bowl. But even the Seahawks at 2-5, that team can turn it around and get to the playoffs.
Without Russell Wilson?
No, not without Russell Wilson. Geno Smith. All right.
I can't believe it.
No. Now we're going to talk about that because Geno Smith is a better quarterback than his head coach gives him credit for. He's a better quarterback than his head coach gives him credit for. No, listen, Ray, because
I'm listening. I'm all ears. I'm all ears.
Pete Carroll, his quarterback is Russell Wilson, right?
Sure.
Bill Belichick's quarterback is Tom Brady. It's the way the world works. Those things are together. It's like peanut butter and jelly. You take Geno Smith and you put him in there. He knows right away that isn't Russell Wilson. So now he starts handicapping him. Just like Bill's been handicapping Mac Jones all season. And I'm going to throw that out there because he has been handicapping him. And he finally let it fly this weekend. And look what happened when he let it fly. The kid's smart. The kid can make the throws. But back to Geno Smith. Geno Smith is not a bad backup NFL quarterback. And he's not necessarily there to play for 4 or 5 weeks at a time. So you got to take what you can get from him. But he's not as bad as they only lost 13-10 the other night because the Seahawks defense played pretty well.
Yep. Right.
But after the 84-yard touchdown pass on Monday Night Football to DK Metcalf, which helped me win my fantasy football matchup in another league, not in our league. After that, Pete Carroll stopped letting them throw and started handing the ball off to the backup running back, who was very good, but he's not Chris Carson. Well, Chris Carson isn't Aaron Jones either. So my point is, Geno Smith is being misused by Pete Carroll, and Pete Carroll is literally just trying to keep the Band-Aid on until he gets Russ back. And now it doesn't look like it's going to be for another 2 or 3 weeks. So Geno Smith is he's a better quarterback than he's getting credit for, and he's a better quarterback than what he looked like on Monday Night Football.
So basically you're saying that he could be what Teddy Bridgewater was for the Saints a few years ago when Drew Brees was out.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't necessarily think Geno Smith is as good as Teddy Bridgewater, but I think if you use Geno, why do you sign a guy like Geno Smith when you have a guy like Russell Wilson? Because you're looking to emulate that dynamic gameplay, right? If you have 2 very different quarterbacks, if you have Mac Jones and Cam Newton, those are 2 very different quarterbacks. You have to run 2 very different offenses. If you have Russell Wilson and Geno Smith is the bargain brand basement version of Russell Wilson. So let him play like that. Let him play that way. Look at even with the Chiefs. You look at the Chiefs last year when what's his face had to come in for
Matt Moore.
Matt Moore had to come in for Craig's. Why are names escaping me? Patrick Mahomes. When Matt Moore had to
my existence.
Patrick Mahomes, not the same guy, but they ran the same offense. They just ran the same offense and said, "Listen, this is our offense. We have a guy that can run it behind our guy if something happens. Let Geno Smith run the offense." Because with the Cardinals and the Rams up top of that division, if you don't let him run your offense, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, no, that's fair. You definitely gave me a different perspective on Geno. Like I've been out for a while.
We know Geno Smith with the Jets.
Yeah, exactly. So he'll forever be a Jet. Him and Jamal Adams. So Jamal Adams ain't done much since he got that new contract, but that's a whole other topic for another day. Yeah, listen, if he's able to emulate what Teddy did and in New Orleans, then yeah, they got a shot. But the way Kyler Murray is playing, the way that Matthew Stafford is playing, even though I thought Seattle were winning this division before, everything has unfolded, they're not catching either one of those teams.
How right was Mike about the Rams this year? How right was he about that team?
About them being really good?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, listen, we looked at Stafford because of the uniform and said, well, it's Detroit. He's putting up numbers on a bad team. And, remember, I've said on the show before, that's the guy I wanted. He was the guy when we said that Brady was leaving and we did our reunion show before we made this a real thing. I'm like, yo, if you could go get Matthew Stafford to replace Brady, absolutely. What are we talking about? Right. Of course you get a guy like that. He's only in his early 30s. He can sling it. Listen, that game after that's on NFL Films, when his rookie year against Cleveland, when he separated his shoulder, it was like, I'm finishing it. I was like, yo, this dude is tough. Like, I'll rock with him any day of the week. So I was a fan since then. So yeah, when you got guys like Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Sonny Michel still hasn't done much. So, I guess, we're only missing him from a depth standpoint over here. But, they have a lot of talent over there. And then when you have the defense they have with Ramsey being able to play every position in the secondary, he's unreal. Thank God we caught him early in Jacksonville because had they stayed over there, they might have got us eventually. He's really good. Obviously they had the best defensive tackle maybe of all time. That's not exaggerating. Just watch the tape. Aaron Donald's phenomenal. Maybe the best is Reggie White. We want to pay homage to the past, but yeah, that Rams team is phenomenal. And Stafford being more than a marginal upgrade over Jared Goff over Ryan Gosling is phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
That was good. That was a good drop. Yeah, no, Mike nailed it on the head. I think we knew it was going to happen, but Mike was like, watch this guy go out here and this Rams team is going to ball. And they did, because Jared Goff was clearly not the quarterback everybody thought he was, and Detroit is not figuring that out, Right. Geno Smith greater than Jared Goff. So
that's wild, but it's like, yes, that should not be the case, but he is. Like, that team is 0-7, bro. They're 0-7. Like, that is, and you got your head coach fucking crying after week 5, like, yo, like, I love this team. It's like, cut it out, man. Like,
he's a very emotional meathead. He's an emotional meathead.
Call it what you will, but I'm like, damn, bro, you went from top of what, biting off kneecaps, and now you crying at week 5, man? Week 5? Hey. Not in week 16 after you lose a game. They could have got to the playoff like Mike Tice back in the day. You're allergic to the bullshit too. It's bullshit, Dan. It's bullshit. What are we doing? Why are you crying after week 5? So, man, I just want to win for these guys. You should want to win for you, Dan. You should want to win for you.
No other team has ever lost to 60-plus yard field goals in a season.
Man, it's just, I know for a fact that if they are up, say, 21-20 with 45 seconds left, like, every fan in Ford Field or wherever they are going to go crazy, because this is like, we're going to lose by a field goal. So whether it's Tucker, whether it's...
Well, Justin Tucker is the greatest of all time. So... Justin Tucker is the greatest.
Justin Tucker. That's why I always get him on fantasy. Like, I'm super biased. Like, I'll never pick another kicker. Like, I would almost pick him first if I could, but that's just ridiculous. But Justin Tucker is phenomenal. I love Tucker. Love it.
I don't want to rabbit hole this, but better than Terry.
From a clutch standpoint, he is probably, we'd have to look at all the numbers, right? Like, let's put Vinatieri and Tucker side by side. I think Tucker is maybe a half a notch to a notch better than Vinatieri. And yeah, listen, everybody out there, Vinatieri kicked the 2 field goals. He won us the Super Bowl. He did it. Yep, he did. 48 yards. I was there, watched it happen. 48 yards in the Superdome. Never seen my father cry before that moment. I get it. I'm there. But watch what Justin Tucker does on a regular basis. And that team would not have won some of the games that they've won if it's not for him. And granted, Vinatieri is the same way, right? But Justin Tucker has put that team on his back. And for a kicker to do that, it's amazing.
With Justin Tucker, I would say that for a longer period of time, there has been, because Adam Vinatieri people just kind of forgot him when he was in Indianapolis. with Justin Tucker, people just, for a long time, people just, who's the best kicker in the NFL? People immediately went, Justin Tucker.
Justin Tucker.
Wasn't even a question. With Adam Vinatieri, people kind of question that for a little bit. And maybe the stats don't bear that out. But as far as like
the Super
fantasy
Bowl
goes,
wins don't bear the Super Bowl wins don't map it out. I mean, Adam Vinatieri is one of the most decorated kickers of all time, and that you will never, ever, ever be able to take away from him. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer, and if he's not, there's the problem in Ohio
for sure. I also think that the success of Gostkowski changed our perception on Adam Vinatieri a little bit too, because before a couple of years ago, Gostkowski was the most accurate kicker of all time. I think he became the all-time points leader too. He was money from New England day one. So you want to talk about going from maybe like the kicker version of Brett Favre to going to the kicker version of Aaron Rodgers with Gostkowski? That's exactly what it was. Like, you literally just walked into greatness from day one in 2006, and for 13 years here, he was the man every week. So I think that's what kind of diminished that. So like I said, I love that we can have this type of conversation right here, because not too many shows are going to talk about how great kickers were or how they weren't, but
kickers are
we just
people
love
too.
we love every aspect of the game. So that's just what it is. But yeah, I think Gostkowski's greatness, just right after Vinatieri left to go to Indianapolis, they won right away when he got there. Kind of changed the perspective of what we thought he was. Even though New England fans know, we have a near to our hearts that what he did in 2001, we did 2003, to help win those championships, will forever be noticed and, should be remembered, because he was a phenomenal player. And as you said, he's easily first ballot. If he's not, they need to check their system down there again.
So it's just so interesting, because I think back of now, like, we're old enough to where our parents' generation and our grandparents' generation saw these guys play, and they're like, wow, you never got to see this guy play, or you never got to see that, or never got to, like, I think about my kids. My kids well, they've gotten to see Tom Brady play, but they don't really know who he is. They're only 3 and 2, but they can't really understand what they're watching. Right. But they never got to see Vinatieri, just like we never got to see like Blanda or, Y.A. Tittle, or, we never got to see these guys. And I know Y.A. Tittle is just a random name to throw out there, but like, bring it back to New England, God rest his soul, Sam Bam Cunningham. We never got to see him play. We know who Andre Tippett is, but we never got to see him play. John Hanna, because we were born right at the end of their careers, so we never got to see that stuff. So it's so interesting now to be able to go through 3 generations of kickers. I mean, Vinatieri was here from 96 to 05. And then, they brought in Gostkowski, and he was here for 13 years. And now we're on to Nick Folk, but you still have Justin Tucker, who's not very old, and he's still kicking, and he literally, pun intended. And it's just great to see. I mean, what's that? Yeah, thank you. But I mean, kickers are a big part of the game of football, man, and they always have been. And I don't know how we got on this kicker kick, but I love every second of it. So, and you know what? I get razzed for it all the time, man. I don't care. They're just like offensive linemen. Kickers are underappreciated. So, looking at the NFL as a whole. We've as we record this, we've now started week 8 of the NFL season. The Cardinals are the leaders in the clubhouse with the 7-0 record.
DeAndre Hopkins had a hell of a move tonight.
What's that?
DeAndre Hopkins had a hell of a move tonight.
Yeah, and he got called on a face mask. And it got called back. So Chase Edmonds ended up scoring a touchdown. And Aaron Jones just scored a touchdown for the Packers. So that's points against whoever the heck I'm playing in our fantasy league this week. I've been on a tear lately. So Ray, it's been a very interesting season. It's been very intriguing. Dave has said it multiple times. This might be the most exciting NFL season we've had in a long time, just because of the circumstances, the movements. It's a new generation of players in the NFL from a lot of standpoints. We have a lot of young players, whether it's quarterbacks, wide receivers. Jamar Chase is a man amongst boys. I mean, that kid, when he got into some trouble at the beginning of the season, which has kind of been buried. I don't know if it's just been taken whatever. I don't know enough about it.
It was another case of what we were talking about earlier of the, misquoting, really.
Yeah, right. And
right. Yeah, exactly right.
And this kid, when they drafted him, and I'm sure Joe Burrow had something to do with it, because they said, we're going to get these 2 LSU guys back together. and we're going to see what happens. And Jamar Chase has been, he's not been a binky. He's just been outstanding. He's a top 10 receiver in the NFL, and he's a rookie. I mean, that's just plain and simple. And the Bengals are very impressive to me. If they can keep up what they're doing, I mean, they could win that division because the Steelers don't look good.
Right.
The Browns look all right, and the Ravens are fine, but Bengals are beating up on some pretty good teams.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think they kind of lot of flack for taking, Chase at 5 because it was like, oh, like, Joe Burrow just got hurt last year, like you need to protect him. So people were saying take Penny and Sewell. They would say take Rashawn Slater, the kid that's out of Northwestern. They would say take him, then went to the Chargers. So there was a few guys that went in. Leatherwood, who was out of Alabama, that went to Vegas. So there was a few guys that was in that draft that were up front that they were saying they should take at that position. But it's like, look, if you're looking to build a dynamic offense, so they have Mix in there. Now you got Chase, you got Eifert. They have a squad there, and defensively they're way better than I thought that they would be. But I think, winning changes that, and winning allows you to kind of play over your head, so to speak. And that's what's happening right now, right? So, and I think that Ravens game was really what kind of stamped them as a team that may be for real. And people forget, because, we got jaded during the Marvin Lewis era. Cincinnati was very competitive under Marvin Lewis. Did they win a championship? No. But I mean, I don't think Cincinnati's ever won a championship, I think, in professional sports. Well, not in football anyways. Their last championship was the Red Sox, obviously. But it's just like they've been competitive. So Burrow was already a million times better than what, the Red Rocket was. Shout out to Andy Dalton, but, he just wasn't that guy compared to Joe Burrow. And, they found their quarterback of the future. So now it's like, okay, it's time to eat. And they're eating up on everybody they need to. And, as Craig shared on our TikTok a while back, that song, they understood the assignment. Cincinnati has understood the assignment, and they're smacking everybody they can as they, whether it's the AFC North, whether it's the AFC West, South, whatever direction you want, they're kicking ass and taking names. That's what they're doing. So
remember when I had Zach Taylor out as the first NFL head coach to be out? How wrong was I'm glad I was wrong, because it's kind of
that wasn't. He was bad.
But maybe it wasn't bad. Maybe they were just building the team and they lost their franchise quarterback in week 3 of the NFL season of his rookie year. You know what I mean? Like, it takes time to build. And I think this is going a little bit deeper into some of the issues in sports and coaching. A lot of times, coaches aren't given the opportunity to build the program. And that's why you see some of these guys in and out in a year. Like Vic Fangio's been in Denver because they've been trying to build around the coach and get the players going. And I thought this year was going to be the year, the way they started. I don't like Vic Fangio. I think he might be the first one out. They've done the same thing with Matt Nagy in Chicago. They've tried to build. They've tried to give him the time to do it, and he hasn't been able to. Zach Taylor has been given the time and has now been given the pieces. And you have a very young head coach with a very young quarterback with a very young number 1 wide receiver. And it's looking like if they can keep things going and keep that together, they can make something happen in Cincinnati. And that's what it's about, is you can't give it. So like you look at those other coaches, you look at the Fangios and the Nagys, you got to give them time. You got to give them time, even if it sucks for a year or two. It's like the college coaches. It takes 4 years for a cycle of kids to go through, no matter what sport it is, no matter what college it is, no matter what level it is. It's going to take a coach 3 years to really get a feel. And if it's not working out to the 3rd year, that's when you kind of look at it and go, all right, we're not going in a direction. But after year 1, year 2, unless something like John Gruden's situation happens, you got to give these teams time to do what they need to do. And I'm glad that they gave Zach Taylor that opportunity, because I was wrong. I had him out the door, and I should have thought more along what I just said instead of just having him out the door.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we all did. Like, it's not like we was like, Joe, you're out of control.
Yeah, sure.
We was like, yeah, Joe, like, you're spot on. His ass should be out of there. And yeah, I mean, they've come back in a major way. And like I said, and now they're balling. Another guy, we talked about first year coach success and coming after somebody was a guy. It was down in Miami. Dennis Ferguson came in right after Jimmy Johnson, and they won right away over there too. So, it's very rare that happens when you can get a program right away, because that's another John Gruden type situation. But yeah, I mean, listen, coaching definitely matters. But yeah, you have to allow, every owner is not going to be what Robert Kraft has been, and just letting him, basically, as Bill Parcells said back in the day, you got to let me, shop for the groceries. He's let Belichick shop for the groceries, do everything that he needs to do. But a lot of owners have not been as patient. I mean, how Jerry Jones had the clapper in there for 10 years, went through a few A&A seasons, went through a couple of times where they were 13-3, and so they had some success and won a couple of playoff games, but it does take a while. But at some point, enough is enough, which is why But at the same time, if Marvin Lewis got all those years, Zach Taylor should get at least 4 or 5, at least. Like I say, you don't keep doing the same thing over and over again. But once again, if he's building this type of program and they're killing it out there, listen, ride that way. You're back in the boomer sizing days. Let's go.
Right.
Let's go.
And that's why with them playing as well as they are, you give them this year is let's see what happens. This is the let's see what happens year. And then if they really do well, next year is the year where they're really going to push for it and really keep it together. I think they're coming into it at a really good time because Pittsburgh is down. Baltimore isn't down, but they're not up. They're kind of Baltimore right now. Let's see what happens. They're not a bad football team. They're actually a very good football team. I mean, they've kept it together.
I think the injuries are catching up to them, or they will catch up to them. I mean, listen, they just got smacked. Like that's just what it is. Like that happens, healthy or not. The NFL's the NFL. They're professionals. They're professionals.
Any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday, right? You can get your shit rocked. That's what happened. Lamar has turned the corner, in my opinion. Like I said, me and Mike have had arguments off the air and on the air about this. I'm a Lamar Jackson supporter. Like, obviously, he didn't show up on Sunday, but he has turned the corner to me as a passer. Hollywood Brown is finally, acting like my cousin, because I'm Hollywood Brown. He's finally acting like my cousin, and he's finally playing better.
Well, he's adjusted to be a real receiver. He's not just a deep threat. He's adjusted to be an actual NFL receiver.
Right, because I'm like, my thing is, it can't be national attendance every day with Marcangelo. It can't just be him. Because if that's the case, you're only throwing to him. It's like, all right, this is no different than Phillip Rivers throwing to Antonio Gates all those years. And
it works.
San Antonio, San Diego at the time, and then Los Angeles. So it's like, yeah, it you're right. It did work, but it's like, that's not, it's a new day. It's a new day. These athletes, and Mark Andrews ain't Antonio Gates either. Let's be.
I don't know. He's pretty good. My fantasy football team is pretty good.
Yeah, he's good, but he damn sure ain't he ain't number 85. So that's for sure.
So Ray, I'm gonna really change gears on you here. I think we could go on. I think we could go on about the NFL. Craig, you got any more NFL points?
No, we've said our piece.
Are you?
Okay, I'm surprised he ain't chiming about the Mahomes shit though.
I'm saving it.
He's saying for the final word. Look at the bastard.
Because he knows I'll sit here and defend Mahomes to the death.
Yeah, I'm ready for that though. Let's keep going though.
He's waiting for it to be all 6 of us so we can just yell at him.
Right.
That's right. And then what's best for me, I can just disappear.
Mm-hmm.
So Ray, the anger and sadness you said you were feeling towards the Patriots during some of their games this week, and you and I were pretty fired up about their Houston game. To the point where I usually don't go to Twitter, but I went to Twitter and just wrote embarrassing. What I should have done is waited until the ALCS. How upset are you with our Boston Red Sox?
So I'm upset with the finish, because obviously I felt like they could eventually win 7. But listen, from a team that we wrote off at the beginning of we did our baseball preview right after they got smoked by the Baltimore Orioles early on. It was like, look, the season may be done. I brought it up before. I do think at the end of the year, I said they may find a way to eke out 90 wins, and they did. They won 92. Because I just felt like, okay, we're down on the Patriots, we're down on something. It's like, I said, how funny would it be if the Red Sox were the team that we latched on to? And that's exactly what happened, right? They took us on a ride, and it was, like I said, this wasn't the impossible dream. This wasn't Jim Longborough. This wasn't, the Carlton Fisk waving the hand at 75. It wasn't the 86 run, but this is probably closer to the 88 run they had called Morgan's Magic. This is probably closer to that type of season. Also, a team that didn't really do much the year before. They come back and they find a way to get to the American League Championship Series, where, the Oakland A's were a better team. In this case, Houston was the better team. Listen, the bats just went, as quiet as a mouse. And In games 2 and 3, they had us on the highest of highs, and between the sticky stuff and some other stuff was going on, Houston found a way to get it done. My only thing is I'm just mad that we didn't find sticky stuff too. So we could have been facing the Braves in the World Series. That's the only thing I'm mad about. I'm not mad. I'm I would love to see them in the World Series. I would love to see them against the Braves, and I hope the Braves beat the brakes off of break the brakes off of Houston. But yeah, I said overall it was a great season. They went further than any of us expected, and if we say different, we're lying. And yeah, I mean, me and you I think it's actually perfect that you and I are on the show. I think me and you, Joe, talked about, I said, well, maybe this could be the 02 or 03 Red Sox. And we talked about that. And he was like, well, that means they're a year away. And I'm like, well, let's see. And once again, we kind of threw it out there, kind of like a, shot in the dark, but, we were right. They were. So they were, so hopefully next year they are getting to the World Series then. So, but no, not upset though. But I'm like I said, I wish we had a different outcome. But they took us on a good ride.
Ownership treated this team like they were a year away, but they didn't start treating them like they were a year away until they were really good at the beginning of the season. And I said in that preview show, and I said midway through the season, we got to watch out for this because this is going to be like those teams of the 90s, the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s, where it ends up, They blow us out of the water in the first half of the season. In the second half of the season, they kind of just sputtered to the finish. And then, well, better luck next year. There's always next year. And while they were a 92-win season, and I had them a little above 500, I think I had them at like 85 wins. And they went further. You're right. I'd be lying if I said that they didn't go as far, or they went further than I thought they went further than I thought they would. Let's keep it simple.
Right.
And I would be lying if I said otherwise. That's better. Thanks, Craig. Yeah. So, but I'm disappointed. I'm upset. I'm upset and I'm disappointed because we were fed more BS down the line. Down the road, we were just fed the BS. And that's a 92-win team that sputtered and could have done better because they stayed healthy. And besides the spot where they got COVID, where the guy started going down with COVID, that was understandable why you lose some games in there. You might lose some momentum. This should have been a 100-win team. The way they were at the All-Star break, where they came from, how they played against the Yankees down the stretch. And then they get to the playoffs and they surprise us all by beating the Yankees in the wild card game. And now we're all back on board. Now it's Red Sox World Series. Yeah, now we sound like Cowboys fans. So you send the Patriots, you send the Red Sox to the divisional series, and they go out and they win it. And they beat one of the best teams in Major League Baseball. So now they beat the Yankees and they beat the Rays. Right? So they beat the Yankees and they beat the Rays. They beat divisional opponents. Now they go up against the Astros and we're riding high, and then they lose. Well, now management is treating it as, well, we're just a year away. And we got to the ALCS, and you hear all the rhetoric from Alex Cora. I almost got tired of him too, because a couple of years ago, he wasn't talking like John Henry talks when he's sitting at the picnic bench at Fenway South in Fort Myers, where it's just feeding us this crap of what we're going to see and what he hopes to have, and it's just like, I don't want to hear that. And I don't want to hear it from the manager. I want to hear the truth and the honesty from Alex Cora that he would tell us in 2018 and 2019. That's what I want to hear from that guy. I don't want to hear this rhetoric about how our pitching was and should have been and how our hitting, wasn't as good as it did. Like, don't feed me the crap. Don't tell me it's going to get better. Just do better.
Right.
This team, the way they started, the way they played in the playoffs, not how they finished in the ALCS. Yes, went further than we thought they were going to go in April. They should have gone further than they did because they're a better team than what they were at the end of the season in the ALCS. They're a better team. They should have won 100 games. And I think I'm partly biased because I just don't like John Henry. I don't like the Fenway Group. I think their ownership style is very much, we're going to get everybody excited so we can get the money, and we'll keep them chomping at the bit. And then every couple of years, we'll go win a championship. And that's great. And you know what? I think Mike has said it to me before, or Dave. wouldn't you rather go get a championship every couple years? Well, yeah, but I don't want to be at the bottom of the basement or not competing. Not that we're not competing. They won 92 games. They went to the ALCS. It wasn't enough.
Right. I think that the trade deadline is what changed the perception. I think within the clubhouse, right? It was overblown for local media. Different talk shows talked about it. We spoke about it to an extent. What do you mean? Like, was it overblown? You mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like guys like Tomasi and they was kind of like, oh, like well, I'm maybe overblown's not the word, but I feel like they was killing them. Go ahead, Greg.
They were leading the division by like 7 games at that point. Needed an extra exclamation point to really kind of put them over the top, and they didn't get that.
Truth be told, but my thing is, I disagree. Okay, from a pitching standpoint, no, they didn't get that.
Sure.
But
yeah.
Kyle Schwarber was fucking amazing down the stretch.
But he didn't play until like 6 weeks after the trade deadline.
Sure.
He was hurt when they got him.
Yeah, exactly.
For the moment that he was on, he was great for us. So that to me, that part's a wash. Like, how I bring him over here, because there's not too many I know that they want Anthony Rizzo. They want Anthony Rizzo. Let's be real. People say, even myself was saying, go get Rizzo from the Cubs. Like that, people were saying that. So the fact that he was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to get Schwarber, someone who's an on-base guy, which has been their philosophy since the Theo FC days. Get someone that's getting on base, someone's going to draw walks, because the team wasn't really drawing walks. Schwarber was an on-base percentage per scene, OPS guy. So he was great from that standpoint. And people was getting on the Robles thing. Robles for 5 weeks did not give up a run. He didn't give up a run for 5 weeks.
He was better than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah, me too.
Right, exactly. So I'm just like, I'm like, like you said, Joe, like the pieces were there. But yeah, it was overstated to me that it was like, well, you know what? It kind of took the wind out of their sails. Because that became the narrative immediately after the trade deadline. And I get it. Should they have given up crazy guy Jared Durant for Max Scherzer? You damn right. And I cannot. Oh God, that to me blows. That we want to talk about the Ime Udoka thing. We might talk about something at the end, but you want to talk about something mind-boggling that he used in his presser, in the game last night. It's mind-boggling to me that a guy that wasn't even on your fucking postseason roster couldn't get dealt for Max Scherzer. You couldn't get rid of that guy. We're not talking about Cassis. We're not talking about other guys you couldn't give him Durant and some other pieces to go get Scherzer at that time. That would have been a huge jump for this team. And who knows, maybe they do get the 100 games, and then now everything comes to Fenway Park.
Is Max Scherzer in the World Series?
Could have been.
He's not, but on this team, on this roster, I think they would have got there. And I understand the Dodgers they were a wagon, but outside of the Mickey Mouse season last year, when they get to the postseason, they have choked under Dave Roberts. So they've been what they've been. Shout out to Dennis Rain. They are who we thought they were. They always fall at this moment. Like I said, they got through a short season, and they had the best team in the short season, which is why they ended up winning, in my opinion. Neutral site, all that good stuff. They won. Great. Awesome. Congratulations, Dave Roberts. But that's not taking long.
Looking at what they gave up for Schwarber, Washington was going to deal him no matter what happened.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And looking at Anthony Rizzo, because Chicago was going to deal him no matter what happened. And looking at what the Dodgers gave up for Max Scherzer, because they were going to deal him out of Washington no matter what happened.
Mm-hmm.
You really realistically could have gone and gotten all 3 of those guys.
Right.
Now, the reason why they may not have wanted to is because 2 of those guys, Rizzo and Scherzer, I think would have been rentals.
All 3 of them, one of Schwarber's free.
All 3 Schwarber's up this year too. Yep. So had you gone out and gotten all 3, now you're looking at 3 rentals for giving up a lot. And Jaron Duran is still young, and they may have called him up too early. Now, we all were on them about bringing up a lot of the young kids, because after the break, we thought, well, they're done. Like, let's bring up some of the kids and let them get some time. Well, we were wrong. And we may have been wrong about Jaron Duran, but we don't know if we're wrong about him yet. Let's give him time. Now, would I have traded him for Max Scherzer to go lose in the ALCS? No. Right? Like, it's kind of like that, the selling your soul to the devil. If you can promise me Max Scherzer in a World Series, I'll do it. I'll do it yesterday. If you could promise me that we're going to win the World Series, but he's not going to sign back and we lose Jaron Duran, I'd still probably take it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
right. Let's go get the World Series.
You're really going to trade a potential starting center fielder for one postseason?
For a World Series.
Yeah, for a World Series, absolutely.
Yeah.
Not for a postseason, not for an ALCS, not for a pennant, for a World Series.
Right, but my thing is,
hang on. Now I just went against what I just said about the Fenway Group.
Dude,
so I don't think I can do this.
I hear, but this is my thing, right? Like we already acknowledged, all three of us, and really, Michael Barbagello, we acknowledged that this was a run that was unexpected, right? Yes,
Sure.
they would say they should have won 90 games. I mean, they should have won 100 games, but at the end of the day, looking at the eye test showed they should have got this far. So my thing is, if you could have pushed back the starters, so say if you're not having Evaldi or whoever pitched, maybe Sale's not pitching in game 3 or 4, and it's Scherzer, Evaldi, then Sale and Erod. Are you kidding me? I'm taking my chances. And then you have Houck and Pavetta, the guys that come after them, and you push everyone back down. That's my thought process. Like, now, granted, it's not good. Nothing's guaranteed, right? It's sports. Like, anything can happen. But you have to boost up your chances. And that there would have boosted the chances. Now, I think about the right now. Granted, Duran could be someone next year that comes back and be what Jackie Bradley was defensively and more. Who knows? But it's just right now, I'm just like, well, damn, to be this close and not have a horse that can get you there, it reared its ugly head at the wrong time. And I just think, to me, if you want to give it up Casas and you wasn't giving up Jeter Downs, and he wasn't giving up any of those guys that, we talked about in the system. Yeah, Craig can eloquently break down better than all of us because he follows them more. If you wasn't giving up those two guys in the deal, to me, everything's on the table. And just my opinion. Once again, if you think you can get there, but once again, like Joe said, if they can get there, so it's kind of like, well, we'll just kind of see how far we'll do a little bit to appease the crowd to an extent. But I mean, granted, like, you don't want to give up your first, second, and third best possible to get those guys, but my thing is, I'm always going to go out the pitcher. You can get the pitcher, even if it is for a rental, do what you can, and then kind of take care of everything afterwards. Like, Hines seems like he's going to draft well. It just looks like he's going to draft well. I like the shortstop they got in his draft last year. Like, I think he's just going to draft well. So I trust him to build that. Don't get whoever. This is not Kansas City. This is not even the Anaheim Angels. Oh, sorry, Los Angeles Angels, Anaheim, whatever you want to call it. This is not that. Go get the player. Go get him. Go get him.
Oh, the Max Scherzer trade wasn't even just for Max Scherzer. It was also for Trey Turner, too.
Right. Right. So are you kidding me? So you get a guy that can play. Come on. They literally was like, here, just bend me over and take whoever. Come on. And you telling me that Durant to be the centerpiece for those guys? Absolutely. Come on. I'm out there loading myself with a sign saying, welcome home. That would have been perfect. That would have been perfect. That would have been great.
That would have been after he had dropped off Brandon Bolden to be shipped out to wherever his ass was going.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, it's like, come on. That's perfect, man.
So here's another thing.
You're so right, Clay. I forgot all about Trey Turner. That's what I'm saying. So you got two quality guys there. That's crazy.
The Dodgers really didn't give up that much to get those two either.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's always those. Yeah, man. I'm like, and granted, maybe Scherzer didn't want to come to Boston, but I know Scherzer had a no trade thing. So maybe Boston was on the list of teams that he wasn't going to go to. And obviously, we're going to trade for Zach Greinke because Zach Greinke is basically a corpse. There's certain guys I think of, like, he wasn't going to go and get in at the trade deadline. But I don't know, man. They got to, I don't know if you get that guy for San Francisco. I don't know if you go. I don't know who they're going to get in the offseason, and we could do a whole offseason preview when we get there, but they got to address the starting pitcher. And damn the way the Tampa Bay was doing it. Fuck that. You just beat them. That shit ain't working. They lost in the World Series. Kevin Cash had the best pitcher on the mound in Blake Snell and said, hey, you know what? Because we can't go through the ladder 3 freaking times, I'm going to go sit Blake Snell. Even in the game where I can go home, I'm good. So let's not follow that. We can follow some other stuff a while.
That's not even just Kevin Cash. That's baseball now.
Yeah, but he's the poster child for that, though.
Sure,
like he's the guy.
But that's everybody
he's
now.
The poster child. But I was like, bro, like, what are you doing? Like that to me, like that. You know what, to me, we want to go back to the Houston series. You know what won them the series outside of the sticky stuff, and I'm gonna say that should help them win. I don't care what we can say we won a ball. Oh, Corey did that. Fine, whatever.
You went to Whistlegate too?
Yeah, Whistlegate, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
That game was it game 4 when he left, or either game 4 or game 5, 1 or 2. When he left his pitcher in because his pitcher was dealing. That's old school management. That's what, you know what? y'all can't hit this motherfucker. So guess what? I'm not taking him out.
So
that's how you manage. Not the, well, he went 5 in the third. We may have to worry about the next game, so we're going to take him out. Fuck, that Nate was dealing. Sam was dealing too. Ride them dudes until the wheels fall off. Like,
The eye
that's the eye test shows it. Sam was dealing. Next thing, Nan Bowling was dealing. Like, you have to forget that those moments. You have to look at it and be like, all right, they can't hit this dude until we see a triple go off the wall or we get a few hits in a row. Then we'll think about pulling him. But as long as they're swinging and missing on any pitch that they're throwing, you keep them out there. Like, this is, everything doesn't have to be a great little situation. You can be able to tell when someone and you can take them out. But I don't know, man. Listen, Dusty Baker won in that series, that game, when he was like, you know what? They can hit my guy. I'm keeping him in there. Save the bullpen. Save the series. And now you see them, they're going back to game 3, tied 1-1. So, little things like that matter. Eye test matters.
So here's a little hitch in the giddy up. In 34 days, we may not have an MLB offseason to talk about because the CBA expires on December 1st, and they've already canceled the winter meetings, which could mean after a COVID year where the minor leagues got shut down, where they only played 60 games, and we had the commissioner drunk at the final game of the World Series. We could have a work stoppage that could delay the start of spring training. Now, they're saying right now that if there is a work stoppage, it's not going to delay the start of the season, but it could delay the start of spring training. So who knows what the hell that means. But nonetheless, that's not good for Major League Baseball and could be a reason why the Red Sox didn't go out and trade for more guys with expiring contracts, because there's going to be a lot of changes to the luxury tax, and owners want to implement a salary cap. And I think there should be a salary cap, but I think it should be based off the NFL salary cap, not the NHL and the NBA salary cap. The NBA salary cap is the stupidest thing of all time.
Go ahead, babe.
But
how do you do that in Major League Baseball? The contract's already screwed up as it is.
Right, like, just worry about that shit.
You have to restructure. You have to restructure, and that's why it's going to go to a work stoppage.
Won't do that.
That's
why there's going to be a stoppage, because the players
that's not going to work. But listen, worry about that shit in the off season, bro. Like, it's just like you worry about the gaps right now.
It's coming.
No, I know. No, I'm saying you saying that's maybe what they said. Hold off for no, fuck that. Wait, you're in the moment. If they surpass what you thought was going to be, cool. It's like, you know what? We believe in this team. We back y'all. We got y'all. Like I remember, they didn't win it this year, but I'm going into basketball a little bit. But I remember in 2010 or the 2009 season going into 2010 when the Celtics ended up going back to the finals. But the year before, they won 62 games. They lose to Orlando in 7 because KG got hurt. That summer, they say, you know what? Okay, we need to address things. They go get Rasheed Wallace. They go get some other guys, some veteran talent there. They were a top 4 seed. They ended up going to the final. Yeah, they lost to 7, but it's like, then he said, okay, we're a few pieces away. We're going to do that. Like, that's the type of mentality you got to have. Once again, this core just won a championship 3 years ago. So they still had a lot of guys there. Xander, Devers, JD, Sale. Like, there were still guys there that won that championship in 2018. So it's not like the guys haven't been there. And even guys you brought in, Kike just won last year. Verdugo's been in the playoffs. He played in the World Series a few years ago. Like, you had guys that are battle tested. All you needed was an extra boost or even 2. They got the boost at Schwarber. They needed the boost in the starting rotation as well. And the fact that they didn't do that, speaks to their ineptitude as an ownership, as Joe has alluded to many times before. So it's ridiculous. But once again, I get it. 4 rings in 17 years or 19 years, I get it. It's phenomenal. We're not knocking out. And just to me, you could have had a chance at a 5th one. And yes, I get it. Have we become a sport in the city? Yeah, sure, whatever. Fine. You want to label us that? Fine. We haven't become Yankees fans, as Mike is alluding to in our group chat. That is far from that. And I know he's saying that more so with the Patriots, but we're not Yankees fans. We're not screaming 27 rings every time. We're not screaming 6 every time we lose a game or win a game. Like, it's not that serious. We have been the best, and that's just what it is. But now we're in the era of Red Sox baseball when the city expects the team to win if they get there. Because when they've gotten to the World Series the last 4 times, they've won. So they expect them, if they get there, they're going to win. And you're doing whatever you can. So whether that's adding a Julio Lugo back in the day, J.D. Drew, Bobby Kelty, Mike Clarke, I'm just, whatever name. I don't want to go in that rabbit hole. I'm just thinking about certain guys that came, Mike Napoli. There's certain guys you think like, okay, hey, Johnny Gomes, you get certain guys, and he kind of did this this year because Hunter Renfroe was better than we expected. Well, listen, better than I thought he was going to be. Renfroe, Kike, Christian Arroyo. I wish that we got Jose Iglesias back earlier, because I do think he would have made a difference in that 9-hole. There's a few games where I feel like he could have got to hit the opposite field or get a bunt down that would have changed the flow of the game. But we'll never know because he wasn't on the field. He was just there to push the cart around. And I just wish he was there to push that cart more, because that means we'd be in the freaking World Series. But that's unfortunate. But I mean, hey, hopefully there's not a work stoppage completely, or if it is, hopefully it doesn't linger into April and May, because if there's any sport that needs to capitalize on how hot they are right now, is baseball. The viewership has been way up this postseason. I remember the Yankees and Red Sox game was one of the highest watched games ever on ESPN. So that says a lot. So capitalize, strike while the iron is hot, Rob Manfred. Do not put the game in jeopardy because you want to appease the owners. And I get it. You work for the owners. We understand that. But at the end of the day, they are not coming to see John Henry. They're not coming to see, the Steinbrenner. They're not coming. They're not coming to see Brian Cashman. They're not coming to see any of those guys. They're coming to see Fernando Tatis. They're coming to see Devers. They're coming to see JD Martinez. They're coming to see, all these great players that MLB has to offer. That's what they're coming to see. They're not coming to see ownership. So find a way to get the deal done so that we can get baseball back, and hopefully the Red Sox can sign some valuable pieces in the offseason that we're saying your 2022 world champions are the Boston Red Sox.
We can only hope. And we can only hope that Major League Baseball can figure it out, because even at the player level, there's a lot going on there. Although they have said that Major League Baseball teams will start to pay for housing for their minor league players in 2022. And having known many minor league baseball players through my years of working through the Cape League, and those guys get paid peanuts. So now they'll get housing, and they will have their pay on top of that, which is a move in the right direction for minor leaguers and guys that you're investing in. And if you're going to invest in employees, you need to allow these changes and allow these improvements. But Ray, the reason why we don't sit here and say kiss the rings and 6 rings and all that? Because the greatest quarterback of all time was once asked, which one is your favorite Super Bowl ring? And his answer was the next one. Right. Thank you for joining us on Missing the Point. He's Rayshawn Buchanan. I'm Joe Malkin. Craig D'Alessandro, our EP. As always, we'll talk to you next time.
Electricast. Welcome to Tuning Into Sound Wellbeing, where we harmonise your mind, body and soul. I'm Amanda, your sound therapy expert.
And I'm Stephen, the curious explorer uncovering the mysteries of sound.
Together we explore vibrations, frequencies and the power of sound therapy and tuning forks.
Discover ancient wisdom, reduce stress and tune into a healthier life. Subscribe to Tuning Into Sound Wellbeing today.
Hey there, fabulous souls. I'm Stephanie Baklaan.
And I'm Eden Alpert.
And we're the hosts of the brand new podcast, Unapologetically Fab.
Get ready to join us on an amazing and real journey as we dive into life after 40 and own it.
We're all about changing the narrative, leaning into who you are, and living a life by your own design.
Join us as we embrace life unapologetically and redefine success.
This is Unapologetically Fab,
an Electricast production.
See you there.
Electricast.